What is an accepted activity that you find repulsive? For me, it is the sport of football. We encourage young adolescent males to essentially smash into each other hundreds upon hundreds of times. They go in with more armor than a Roman gladiator. Concussions are an accepted fact, along with fractures. People are paid to go to college because they can hit hard, and it is a business worth billions of dollars. It is, in my opinion, a modern-day coliseum. People with a degree in medicine will sign a form saying, boys can play a sport known to be detrimental to health. It is a brutish sport, with 3 of the 11 players having no role other than being a meat shield, or a tackler of someone 1/3 their weight, and yet it is conventionally accepted. I hate it with a fury. It is so ingrained into our culture there is no way we could get rid of it. Don't even get me started on rugby or Australian football. No one seems to care. When I launch on my typical tirade, they simply shrug their shoulders in apathetic agreement. I feel very isolated on this topic. Indeed, even the liberal users of Reddit, who are ever looking for a stirrup to clamber onto, don't seem to make any objections. Anyway, what is your most hated activity, and why? Edit. I didn't want you guys to answer what is an acceptable activity to hate and what is not acceptable to hate. I also didn't want this to be so broad of an answer, nor a thought or the likes. An activity would have been nice rather than a school of thought. Story 1. How weddings cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Not just wealthy couples spend that either. People barely getting by who could be putting that money as a down payment on a house. The justification for this expenditure is all under the guise of, it's your special day, it's got to be perfect, etc., etc. I'm not saying go to the courthouse and exchange $20 for a marriage certificate, but reel it in a little bit, people. Reply 1. Agreed. Same for wedding rings. All the professional advice I found online suggested I spend at least 2 months' salary on the engagement ring. Gee, I wonder who came up with that rule. Relevant. Brilliant article about who came up with that rule. Reply 2. My husband got me a titanium and sapphire ring. It was less than $500. It's beautiful, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm also proud because he even got it on sale. It resulted in a lot of bitchery from my extended family because it wasn't a diamond and didn't he value me at all, and etc. Extended family wasn't invited to the wedding in large part due to this attitude. Edit. Holy crap. I was not expecting this kind of response. The ring is this one, with a navy blue sapphire. It looks like they've upped the price a bit, but the company has done a few rings for me at this point, and they've been awesome. Our wedding rings are these, and I love them a whole lot too, but they're sterling silver and have held up so well. I'm rough on jewelry. The reason my husband went with titanium was that my grandfather worked on the Avro Arrow, one of the people who insisted that titanium be used in the plane. I also tend to destroy gold rings. I work with my hands a lot, so I'd already switched to titanium for jewelry. My family owned a jewelry store from the 20s until the late 70s, and because we had it pre-depression, we had a fair number of diamonds. I think the market's a criminal racket. I think the conditions to obtain them were, and largely still remain, a blight on humanity. And I think they're ugly, which is less important but remains. We got a sapphire because I think they're really pretty, and because another relative of my mom's worked on the process by which star sapphires are artificially created. We would have gone with one of those, except the tension wouldn't hold it. And now for a schmoppy story. My husband knew this was the ring I wanted because after a friend dropped 10 grand on his wife's ring and had to return it because she didn't like it, I started ranting at him about it. This was years before we were even dating. After we were dating, and after my mom got sick and we knew we were getting engaged, he saw that it was on sale and asked me if it was still the one I wanted. I said yes, but no pressure. A few weeks later, he sent me an email with a tracking number, going from that jewelry designer's shop to his house. Reply 3. We were pretty poor when we got married, and both our rings cost less than $100. I have so much sentimental value in those rings, it's ridiculous. Looking at this scratched up piece of plain gold reminds me how much we've been through together. Reply 4. So instead of wasting an insane amount of money on a huge diamond like everybody else does, he actually thought about what you might like best. That sounds like the perfect husband to me. Reply 5. We went tungsten carbide, simple bands. They were around $30/EA. My family was less than impressed. I hear you about the whole no extended family thing. Story 2. Anti-intellectualism. It seems like half our country revels in and celebrates their ignorance. From ghetto cultures that mock kids who do their homework to youth culture that devalues reading, to redneck culture that equates one person's opinion to another's facts, the sheer disdain for the acquisition of basic knowledge by a significant portion of our country is disturbing and disgusting. Reply 1. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. MLK. Reply 2. Anti-intellectualism has been a constant thread winding its way through our political and cultural life, nurtured by the false notion that democracy means that my ignorance is just as good as your knowledge. Isaac Asimov. Reply 3. I would say this is the biggest detriment to American society. We are moving towards a knowledge-based economy, but our culture devalues learning anything but the basics, and outwardly ostracizes those who put value on education above vanity/popularity. Story 3. Anti-vaccination evangelists. Dangerous bullcrap should be being kicked in the teeth, not given a free showcase on Oprah. Edit. Also parents that deliberately attempt to infect their children with diseases like chickenpox and measles. Edit 2. Some people can't read. I am not in favor of exposing children to live and wild strains of diseases, especially not when we have vaccines for them. I contracted chickenpox as an adult. It made me wish I were dead. This disease should be eradicated, and we did it with smallpox. We're doing it with polio. Why is this any different? Vaccination works. If we have a chance to make chickenpox go extinct, then we should damn well try to. Reply 1. Yes, this. Oh my god, this! I'm an epidemiologist, biostatistician. This crap keeps me up at night. It's not like I'm particularly worried about measles, mumps, or rubella, but if people will believe this crap, why the hell am I even bothering with my job? What's the point of fixing crap if people won't believe? Edit. Whoa, just broke my personal record for most karma from one comment. Reply 2. Back before there was a chickenpox vaccination, it was actually smart to try to infect your kids with chickenpox while the kids were still really young. Getting chickenpox as an older child/adult can result in a trip to the hospital, as mentioned by another Redditor. When I got chickenpox as a kid, a bunch of parents brought their kids over to play with me so that they could get it over with sooner rather than later. Story 4. Making babies when you are barely able to support yourself? Especially when you have one already being raised by his grandmother and 3 others most of the way across the country being raised by their mentally unbalanced father and his parents. Not that I'm thinking of anybody specific, but she just took out her IUD a couple weeks ago. Darwin was wrong. Edit. No, Darwin wasn't wrong. We've just slowed down/changed the process of natural selection. Reply 1. It's not survival of the fittest, it's survival of what can make the most viable offspring live to give birth to the next generation. This only implies that the subject that can make the most offspring is the fittest subject, and does not mean that the fittest subject will have to most children. Furthermore, fitness is relative to the applied environmental stresses, and in the first world there really are no environmental stresses. Reply 2. A common belief among those who think that evolution represents some steady climb to perfection and is not just the result of who is left. Story 5. Prior to working retail, I didn't know that it was socially acceptable to harass cashiers. I'm sorry, but it is not okay to swear at /belittle/be rude in general to people just because they are in a position to serve you. Reply 1. I hate that crap. If it happens in front of me, I tell the person to stop being such an a-hole, because I know the cashier can't do it and keep their job. It has a pretty good impact coming from me because I look like somebody's mom. Reply 2. You're the type of person I get stoked to see yell at a-holes when I'm at work. Thank you for your awesomeness. Reply 3. Somebody's got to do it. Far too much entitled, obnoxious behavior floating about. I don't understand why more people don't do it. Reply 4. People who harass folks on the basis of superiority or just trying to save a centaur, the scum of society. Half men, really. Story 6. Supporting someone's bad decision just because you're family. I don't care how much common DNA we have, trying to have another child when you have no income and a pile of debt isn't something you should be encouraged about. Reply 1. Going through this now. My cousin who just last week turned 18 let her boyfriend, of 3 months, buy her a puppy and try to take it to her house when her dad said no. I said bad idea. Don't waste money. Yet somehow she ended up with an engagement ring, as well as the puppy. Now she is pregnant and planning her wedding. I'm getting so much crap from family for not supporting her, but there is no way in hell I can say what's going on is okay. Sucks big time. Edit. I didn't expect anyone to see this really, so I might clean it up a bit and elaborate. About 3 weeks ago, she had a hissy fit that her father wasn't allowing her to keep the dog her boyfriend had planned on getting her. I told her it was a bit silly to put down a payment for it without checking with her dad, and it was probably a bad idea. This is where the boyfriend decides, fine, I'll spend the money on an engagement ring. Unfortunately, he spends money on both. 3 days later, another hissy fit, this time on Facebook. She brought the dog to her house and her dad is furious. All I said was it was understandable for him to be upset and that both her and the boyfriend acted a bit jerk, like for not asking and then going through with it anyway. Suddenly I'm being attacked for being a bitch, not being a clue and being a hypocrite. My boyfriend and I have been together 3+ years and aren't engaged or have any children, so I don't get that one. It was her birthday on Saturday and she posted a status saying, "Can't even drink on my birthday. Got a baby in my belly, better start planning this wedding," followed by a picture of the positive test. Hopefully that will clear things up for those few who don't understand why I'm upset. They are both being irresponsible in my view, and I'm worried for her mental health as well as the future child. Reply 2. I feel the same. My sister has made many bad choices and my entire family expects me to just look past them as if being my family magically it makes her a good person. Story 7. When women feed negative stereotypes about their own gender because they think that it is somehow attractive to men. Reply 1. But like girls are so dumb, I really like hanging out with guys because they're not as big of gossips. Exactly what you're talking about. Story 8. Customers who balk at entry-level employees who have nothing to do with store management about how expensive things are, as if they are able to magically lower prices or strike deals so you don't have to pay so much for a bucket of fried deli chicken or a pound of brick cheese. Reply 1. It's not ringing up? Oh, I guess it's free then. Say it one more time. One more time. You have no idea what fury you are about to release. Reply 2. If your prices are high, I will take my business elsewhere. I work for barely above minimum wage. You have no clue how few craps I give. Reply 3. I feel your pain. I had to constantly remind this choir group that I do not make the prices. It is some guy in a suit in a different state, sitting on a big comfy chair atop his golden tower and smoking a cigar made of unborn baby hair. Story 9. Child beauty pageants. It's disgusting that some parents want to live vicariously through their offspring. Story 10. Talking to people in hospitality like they're subhuman. Seriously, if you do this, F you. If you're a waitress, a fast food worker, or a bartender, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Nobody is perfect. Many of us are young and prone to the occasional mistake. There is no need to ruin our day because yours isn't going too well. I've had this happen to me too many times to think that it is socially acceptable. When other people see what's going on, they don't say a goddamn thing. Reply 1. I hate those people who tell you to smile. Hey, a-hole, I have period pain radiating to my kneecaps and eyeballs. I'm especially not going to smile because you told me to. I'm sorry, my pain interferes with your assessment of my physical appearance. F you. Can I have a decaf half-strength latte extra hot with no foam in a mug? Waiter, yes. Who ordered the risotto? X10 while walking around whole large table, take back to kitchen, to scorn of chef who wants to burn you with the fire of 1,000 suns for effing up order. Take all other food out. Last customer with no food? You forgot my risotto. Customer after finishing entire meal. My steak was too raw/cooked, etc. I want a discount. Why did you eat the entire effing thing? Hospitality makes you hate people. Story 11. Chewing out employees/asserting dominance, managing? Basically all the stuff that an alpha wolf does to lower-ranking wolves, but with people. It causes stress, and constant unproductive stress should be viewed as a public health crisis. Not only is it rude to be disrespectful of those whose work you supervise, but it takes actual lived years away from them. Story 12. Rushing to get married. It frustrates me to no end seeing people get engaged and planning their marriage before they've even fully explored their dating relationship. What's the rush? Marriage? Forever. A long, long time. There's pretty much nothing to lose in dating a while, and if you feel there is, see, biological clock, peer pressure, personal insecurity, 90% of the time that's a sign that you are trying to marry for the wrong reasons. I'm not saying you need to date 10 years, I'm just saying, if you are even thinking about marriage before your first fight, then you are a effing idiot. Furthermore, if you justify a hasty marriage on a whim with the thought, well, if it doesn't work out, we can always just get divorced, then, oh my ever-loving F you. In my opinion, this is a major contributing factor in the sanctity of marriage debate in this country surrounding gay marriage. So many marriages are flippantly created and inevitably fail that it completely devalues the entire tradition and meaning of the act, to the point that the only thing left for people to associate it with is man and woman. Love and human commitment are hardly ever even discussed because, let's face it, in a world where Kim Kardashian's one-month marriage makes headlines and that woman hasn't been scorned off the face of the earth, the whole thing is regarded as somewhat of a circus. Reply 1. Personal story. I was in the military and back home on leave. I wanted to get the EF out of the barracks, so I got into contact with a high school friend and asked her to marry me during a drunken conversation over a plate of bacon at Denny's at 3 a.m. We got to the city hall at 8 a.m., made a few phone calls, and got a judge to do it at 10 a.m. I got on a plane back to my duty station at 11 a.m. That was nearly 5 years ago, and we are the happiest married couple around. My wife and I can tackle anything together, and I'm glad that after a bunch of phone calls we decided to try the real thing. My story may be some sort of a blue moon thing, but I'm here to say, sometimes it works. Edit 1. To be perfectly fair, I had a horrible relationship before this one that made me buckle down and actually make a list of all the girls I know. Then I meticulously went through and crossed off people that I couldn't spend the rest of my life with. My wife was the only one left. It was part cunning from me and part luck that she said yes that possibly made this relationship work. Reply 2. How incredibly irresponsible, but I'm glad it worked out. Your situation is hardly the norm, though. Reply 3. I was in the military and back home on leave. If I had $1 every time I heard of military marriages, startings like this, laugh out loud. Story 13. Being proud of not understanding maths. I just don't get why some people aren't just as ashamed of this as of having poor reading skills. Story 14. Dipping/chewing spitting tobacco in public. Hey, disgusting. This is coming from a heavy smoker. When I want a cigarette in a public place, I'm required to go outside, but I have to put up with people spitting into a red plastic cup full of their rancid brown tobacco saliva in the middle of a effing class. Story 15. A person can be paid to stand outside a congressman's office and repeatedly hammer in what laws their backer wants them to pass/oppose. Story 16. Sitting at home, just chilling, and out of the blue, I sense rumbling through the walls and windows as effing car with a deafeningly loud ass stereo passes by. I swear, if only I had a bazooka. Story 17. Diamond rings. Most overrated and worthless rock on the planet. You can easily smash it to dust with a hammer. You can't easily sell it because no one wants your crappy flawed diamonds they sell to consumers. It's representative of just how effective marketing and consumerism is embedded in the public mind. Edit. For further reading, read this article. Long, but outlines a lot of why I dislike diamonds. Reply. 1. Fact. The tradition of the diamond engagement ring was invented solely by the diamond industry way back in the day. They ran ads in newspapers depicting it as a new, fashionable thing to do, and the people swallowed it whole. Billions of dollars wasted on useless, shiny rocks. Story 18. Toddlers and tiaras. How this isn't legally considered child abuse is beyond me. There must be medical professionals that would testify that this is detrimental to the mental and possibly physical health of the children involved. Parents dress these very young children in ridiculous outfits, apply fake tans and makeup, literally jack them up on sugar just before a performance by giving them large quantities of pixie sticks, straight sugar, train them to make sexy poses in minimal clothing, etc. It is absolutely ridiculous. Yet it is not only condoned but televised for the sake of entertainment. It disgusts me. Story 19. It is a brutish sport, with 3 of the 11 players having no role other than being a meat shield or a tackler of someone 1/3 their weight. And yet, it is conventionally accepted. Good day, Sue. Colorado President. There are very good reasons our student athletes can't be paid. Cartman. Now when we sell their likeness for video games, how do we get around paying our slaves? President. Student athletes. Cartman. Student athletes? Oh, that is brilliant, Sue. Reply 1. As a resident of Lincoln, Nebraska, I read that as someone saying good day to Ndamukong Sue. Then I read the rest and was like, ooh, that South Park episode. Haha. Story 20. Voting when you don't know crap about anything about the candidates or the responsibilities the president/senators and so forth has?
Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you want to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.